should we do next time? So I've always really been interested in relationships. And specifically, I've always been really interested in why sometimes relationships are really smooth. They're effortless, people click, everything's going great, you're on cloud 9, it feels like it couldn't be better, and it's super easy. And then sometimes relationships are really hard, and they're a lot of work, and they're stressful, and they can be a burden, and it can be irritating and frustrating to have this person in your life, and maybe you don't know what they're thinking, and you don't know how they're feeling, and you don't know what they want. And so that can be kind of stressful. And I'm not just talking about how some people's relationships are smooth and effortless and easy, and other people have these relationships that are really hard. Even within one relationship, some days it can be easy and effortless, and it feels like you're clicking and you're firing on all cylinders. And then 2 days later, it feels like things are falling apart, and we're at each other's throats, and I can't seem to get you to do what I want you to do. And that's really frustrating. So even within a relationship, there are good days, and there are days when it's a lot of work. So in the research that I've been doing in my career, I've been focused on why is that, right? Why is it that that happens? And the theory that I've been working on developing is called the Relational Turbulence theory. And so I think it's useful for us to draw an analogy from actual turbulence to think about how relational turbulence might be similar or draw lessons from what's happening in actual turbulence, right? Which I had a lot of experience with in my flight to Denver. It was the first time I've ever been on a flight and saw people actually use that little paper bag in the pouch that you might need if you are getting sick. So if you think about flying, right, you're up 30,000 feet, you're in a big metal tube hurtling through the air, and when it's going well, when the air is smooth and you're flying along and it's really calm, you practically don't even know that you're 30,000 feet above the air, right? It's calm, you can read your book, you can watch a movie, you can take a nap, and nothing would really bother you. But sometimes there's a change in the air pressure, or the air speed, or the speed of the aircraft, or the altitude. And it's in those moments that the plane gets jostled, right? It starts to shake, it starts to rock. And in those moments, you pay more attention to the fact that you're in a plane 30,000 feet above the air in a big metal tube that could crash, right? And you could get very hurt and you could die. And so it's in those moments that you notice that little rattle, right, that's been in the overhead compartment and wonder, should it sound like that? I don't know if it should sound like that. And if you hear the wing flaps go, you think, oh, I don't know if it should sound like that. And if we drop in altitude, you think, oh, I don't know if it should feel like that. And so that's what happens when we have airplane turbulence. And the same thing happens when we have relational turbulence. But what causes the turbulence in an airplane are changes, right? Changes to those wind speeds, the altitude, fluctuations in that. And so in developing the relational turbulence theory, we thought about how sometimes maybe these changes that we experience in our relationship that make it go from easy to hard might be due to some underlying changes that are happening in our relationship. Maybe, we have a change of schedule. Maybe we've had some big life event that changes things. And so when we were first doing some research, and by we, I mean me, Denise Solomon, who was my advisor, my friend Leanne Knobloch, I went to graduate school with, who's been instrumental in developing the theory as well, we thought about, okay, well, what are some big changes, right? And so early on, the big change is that change from sort of casually dating someone, going out on dates maybe, to deciding that you're going to be committed, that you want to be in a long-term relationship with this person. And so looking at research that looked at this moderate level of intimacy in relationships, where people are making that decision to transition from casual involvement to a real serious commitment, something kind of interesting is happening there. So there's evidence that during moderate levels of intimacy, when people are making that decision that, hey, this might be the person for me, they experience the highest levels of love in their relationship during that time. But they also experience some of the highest levels of things like conflict, jealousy, aggression, confrontation. They avoid talking about topics with their partner that might be uncomfortable or touchy or risky. They experience, in addition to love, also more negative emotions like anger and fear and sadness. And also that at moderate levels of intimacy, they're more irritated by their partner. Well, that seems kind of counterintuitive, right? We're making this decision that I want to be with you forever, and now all of a sudden it seems like I don't like you all that much. So what's going on in the relationship that could contribute to lots and lots of love, but also lots and lots of conflict, lots and lots of fear? And so the relational turbulence theory started as a model. And in that model, we tried to identify things in relationships or relationship characteristics that are changing during this transition from casual involvement to a more serious commitment. And so there are two mechanisms that we highlighted that tend to go through fluctuations as people make these transitions. The first mechanism in relational turbulence model, now theory, is relational uncertainty. Relational uncertainty refers to the degree of confidence that people have in their perceptions of their relationship. So am I interpreting things accurately? Am I taking the right information from this relationship, right? Is my judgment of this relationship what's truly happening here? And relational uncertainty comes in three different forms. So people can have self-uncertainty. Self-uncertainty refers to the questions that I might have about my own involvement in this relationship. Do I want to be in this relationship? Can I see myself with this person forever? Is that really what I want for myself? Does this relationship make me happy? Am I happy here? So we have questions about whether or not we really want to be there, whether or not we're happy and satisfied in the relationship. We also might experience partner uncertainty. Partner uncertainty are the questions I have about my partner's involvement. Does my partner really like me? Are they really attracted to me? Are they committed to me? Are they faithful to me? Do they really want to be in this relationship? Am I really what they're looking for? And then we also have relationship uncertainty. Relationship uncertainty exists at a broader level of abstraction. And it focuses on uncertainties that people might have about the relationship as an entity in and of itself. It's not just me and you. There's this thing that we've created when we're in a relationship together. And so relationship uncertainty are all the uncertainties I have about how should I act in this relationship? What's the long-term trajectory of this relationship? Where is this relationship going? What does the future look like for this relationship? And so in developing the relational turbulence model, we thought that these moderate levels of intimacy when people are going through this transition from casual involvement to serious commitment might be a time when they start to have a lot of relational uncertainty, right? That's a big commitment, it's a big transition. And so maybe I have more questions then about whether or not this is the right thing for me, whether or not my partner really wants this. And so we thought maybe that's one of the things that changes as we're going through this transition that contributes to all of these other things like love and anger and fear and conflict. The second mechanism in the model is interference from partners. And this stems from the degree of influence that partners have in one another's lives. So if you think about how a relationship evolves over time, early on in a romantic relationship, you don't have a lot of opportunities to have influence on your partner's life. We're just dating, we meet up for drinks, we go out for dinner, we get a coffee, right, whatever that date might entail, and then we go home, and we have separate lives. And I can do things just the way I like to do them, and I don't have to think about you that much as a part of my life, right? Later on, after we've been married for however many years, maybe there's not as much opportunities for influence there because we've really gotten to know each other. We're fully integrated at that point. We're not learning each other anymore. Now we know what it's like to be in a relationship. But it's in that inter-between phase, right, that we start to allow our partner to have a little bit more influence in our lives, right? So now I'm with a partner, and I used to love to eat Thai food. That's my example. I always go to Thai food. I gave that example in Christina's class yesterday. My husband hates Thai food. If I'm going to let this person have influence in my life, that means sometimes I can't eat Thai food. Actually, a lot of the time I can't eat Thai food because it interferes with his desire to have something else, right? When you're moving in together, right? Now there's an opportunity for lots of influence. How do you like to do the dishes, load the dishwasher, fold the laundry? How clean do you like to keep your house? All of those things provide opportunities for your partner to have some influence in how you keep your house. When you were single and living alone, if you were a slob and you left your laundry out, nobody cared but you. But now, you've got this other person, and if they don't like a messy bedroom, then something might need to change. So, the amount of influence that people have in one another's life can be positive or it can be negative. Sometimes, allowing our partner to have influence in our